Springbank was established in 1828 on the site of Archibald Mitchell's illicit still. The distillery is now in the hands of Hedley G. Wright, Mitchell's great-great-grandson, the fifth generation of the Mitchell family to own and manage Springbank. Being based in Campbelltown, the once proclaimed whisky capital of the world, it is no surprise that many of the methods established by our forefathers are still applied in the distillery today. We use traditional production methods and are involved in each and every step of the whisky making process, meaning our whisky is the most handmade in Scotland.
I've been in your waters.
So this is a steep. This is where basically we start step one. We fill this up with our barley, which comes from these chutes down here. 1, 2, 3. We fill it with different tonnage. We'll steep the 9 ton for 12 hours in water, and then we'll drain it for 12 hours. And then we steep it again for 14 in water, and then we drain it for 4 hours. And after that, once it's steeped, we then lay it on the floor. But this is the upstairs floor, so this is 9 ton.
9 tons.
Which is usually, again, 10 tons, but because of the heat and the warmth outside, we then lay it out evenly for an even germination. Depending on season, if it's warm, we like it quite thin, but not too thin. And then again, if it's winter cold, we then lay it out thicker. The winter, we close all windows to keep the heat in. In the summer, we open them all up to air it. And if the temperatures get too hot, we have fans as well, but that's all really work with. We work with the natural air.
Basically, it's just before 6 o'clock. We've got the barley here that's been soaking. We're laying this all out so we can eventually trick the barley into what we call germination. So it thinks that it's actually ready to grow. And already 5 minutes in, and the pile just doesn't seem to go away. So, go away.
So after 6 days, shovel it all into wheelbarrows or push it down our elevator. That then goes from here to the kiln.
Guys, early in the morning, 5:30, and we are starting the malting process. So as you can see, Buddy Daniel over here is already getting to work and scooping all of the barley, malted barley, into chute in here, which is then getting pumped up onto a conveyor and into the kiln. So these guys are getting upset with me. I need to start getting to work.
I am on my way. I will get through.
Who needs a gym, man? You guys, I know. This is it. This will keep you in shape. There's 2 floors, by the way. There's this floor, and then there's a floor. Yeah. I'm actually asking him just to take a little break. You see what I mean? So I'm playing it smart with the camera. So this is where pretty much the magic happens, correct? So you guys saw the malted barley on the floor, went up through the chute, and this is where it ends up right here in what we call a kiln.
We've got to now manually spread it evenly, malting it. It's not going to be dry on one side, or it's not going to be wet or dry and damp halfway between the wet.
We looked at where you guys are going to light the fire and the peat smoke.
Yeah, it goes all the way from the fire downstairs and up.
And it's going in, and as you can see on this floor here, it's basically a grate. So that smoke will come through and come through all this barley, giving it that smoke. And obviously, you guys make different types of whiskey. Well, I'm not gonna lie, guys. It's been since 6 o'clock, and I don't know. I think it's been a couple hours now, and all I've done is basically just shovel.
Yeah, that's all you do.
And
the day shift, that's your
Seems to be all you do, right? Start the fire.
Yeah.
And once it starts going, close the door over.
tell that he's starting to mix the dry stuff. Obviously the dry stuff's catching everything on fire, and then the moist stuff kind of sits on top, creating that smoky, you know, the more peatier, smokier flavors, especially in whiskey. You could be doing this up to 48 hours, if not longer. Obviously every distillery has their own process in doing that. But essentially this is it. The more peat, the more smokier flavors that you want in your barley, you just do this for longer periods of time. And then a wee bit more of the dry as well. We just opened up the kiln, and you guys saw we lit it yesterday about 11. It was on for what, about 6 hours? You guys come in the morning, check it, make sure it's dry. You'll do samples all around the kiln.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right hand side, middle, left hand side, each end here.
Clean. This is the only technology that Springbank uses. So I don't even know if we're allowed to show this.
Still a slight bit to go. We'll take another couple of samples just to take another one anyway.
Yeah.
Barley goes down from this chute here, goes along this belt and down what's called the donkey, onto the chute at the end there, and then into the bin, and that's how it's
Once it comes from the kiln,
Yep.
it goes into these bins, hold about approximately 20 tons. This is the system we use.
Very sophisticated, by the way.
It works.
Bin full, empty.
We've got to determine how fast we feed the mill. We don't want to feed it too quick or we'll get a choke.
Gotcha. Yep.
Drop it down to this cross screw, which then we'll take into the mill room.
This is cool.
This is the continuation. The malt travels along here, drops down, and it's puck up by buckets, and it's transferred right up to the very top, where we're going to go now. Now the malt runs down there. There's small magnets in the bottom which will catch any bits of metal or anything, and it'll go straight into this thresher, which will turn it, and any loose particles, what we call cumins, will go that way.
Yeah.
And any small stones will get caught in that and they'll come out. They'll drop into here, and when that gets to a certain weight, which we call a coop, it will drop down and then it'll feed the rollers. And then it'll go through the rollers down, it'll come along in the grist form, go straight back up, along and into the grist bin.
Yeah.
Sitting there for half an hour.
Okay.
We'll start bringing it through to the underbat.
Yep.
What comes from there into there is then known as worts, sugary water, very sweet. It's in there. Once I get it to the level, I'll start pumping it from here up through a paraflow. This is how we measure our water.
Yeah. Talk to me about this. How long has this been in existence for here?
Since the place was in it, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Just the old way they used to do it. It will go into the wash bath.
Gotcha.
Okay. Once we regulate the temperature there in the wash bath, we'll then drop in the yeast.
Drop in the yeast, yeah.
This is the last one that went through.
How long has this been sitting for?
Maybe 4 or 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours. So not really too much going on here in terms of kind of fermentation process going.
Not at the moment, but as you see, turn around here, this is one that went previously.
Now that is fermentation. Once fermentation's complete, this gets transferred over into this container here. The liquid from the washbacks is passed through Springbank's 3 copper stills, a low wine still, a spirit still, and the wash still, which unlike many distilleries is fired by a live flame. The spirit produced by this process is then transferred into the spirit safe, where the stillman monitors its progress.
The SRWV here at Springbank, the spirit strength is usually between 70-71% alcohol. We'll take using Campbelltown water source from Crosshill Loch. we'll add the water in and reduce the spirit to 63.5. Filling head here, it's just got a sensor, and when the spirit hits the sensor it'll cut out and litres are recorded in the meter here for customs and excise. And then from there it goes to the warehouse for maturation. For the first 4 for customs you weigh, you have a tare weight and a gross weight, so as the litres will match.
The filled casks are then transported to Springbank's dark, moist warehouse and left for a minimum of 3 years, the age at which a spirit legally becomes whiskey. The whiskey is matured for various time periods under the watchful eye of their distillery manager, and some are bottled especially for limited edition ranges. One in particular was bottled 50 years after it had been filled, giving it a truly unique character.
Depends on the size of the cask or the amount we're using. We either fill 1 of the 2 vats, and if required, reduce the whiskey down to the required strength. Once it's been reduced, it's through into the filling head. For some of the guys, they take the measure here, make sure whether it's a 70 centilitre or 75 centilitre, corks go in, and from there goes onto the light to make sure there are no bits of impurities in the whiskey. Goes through the capsule machine. So we hit the labelling machines where the guys put on the front and the back labels on them. So as you can see, very, very much hands-on, very people-orientated. Travels down our line to where the packaging people, all the guys that did the packaging, they check the bottles, make sure the labels are correct, make sure they're on properly, make sure they have the correct packaging. From there, goes into the correct packaging. We're very, very proud that we're 100% everything on site.
I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to come into Springbank and learn from you guys. I really appreciate that. And I've learned so much about the whiskey making process. Part of my tradition is I bring a bottle from where I came from and learned to the next place that I've learned from, and I learned a whole bunch about the whiskey making process from you guys. So this is from Grote Constantia. It's called Grand Constance, and again, it's a token of my appreciation for allowing me to come learn from you guys.
Fantastic.
So thank you so much.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.